everybody. Welcome to the Drop the Beat podcast. My name is Charles Laurita.
And I'm Will Sarver.
And we want to thank you guys so much for listening. This is the show all about music and the music industry with questions submitted by you with this wonderful long format answering session that we are going to have. So, Will, how have you been? Again, still in quarantine. My hair's actually done today, which is crazy. It looks great,
by the way.
It looks passable. It looks like a passable human being.
For the folks at home, it's great. Looks fantastic.
It's decent. It smells really, really nice over here. But Will, I don't know if you knew this, but we're not alone today on this show.
Wait, we're not?
We're not. We are, in fact, not alone. I think this is called acting right now because we both damn well knew that we had a guest with us to discuss our topic that we have today. But for everybody listening at home, we have with us the host of the Bob Culture podcast. He's the senior editor for thepopbreak.com, multi-instrumentalist, music instructor, all around just wonderful, genuine, awesome person. He's done loads for our group and just tons of other musicians. I would like to introduce to everyone listening at home, Rob Bobman Crowther. So thank you so much, Rob, for joining us, dude.
Charles, Will, just a bunch of handsome gentlemen here talking. Guys, when it comes to the Jersey Shore music scene and the podcasting realm, much like Thanos, I am inevitable.
See, you get a lot of brownie points for that one today. But Rob, this is like so fantastic. You are obviously no newbie to the podcast scene, and so of course we are like, not worthy over here, but we are incredibly grateful to have you.
I'm not worthy.
Show us your ways.
Listen, guys, thank you. I know this is going to be a love fest. We all know it, so let's get it out of the way here. Guys, I appreciate you. I think that your band is incredible. Charles, I call you Jim Henson, like a modern-day Jim Henson all the time. I've seen you make models for your music videos. You guys pour your heart and soul into everything, even during this quarantine. You are grossly underappreciated in my mind. And I mean that.
You're too sweet, man. You're too.
It's true. I have some stories, but you guys are great. You guys are very unique, and this show is fantastic because somebody needs to say it. You guys do it the right way without naming names. But on our show, I usually end it with the bands. Like, what do you guys think of the Jersey Shore music scene or the music scene or whatever? A lot of times you get a lot of real talk. Sometimes you hear so-and-so at this venue. Sometimes you get the politically correct, best for business answer. So I loved your guys' first episode. I appreciate the real talk. And maybe, we help some people out along the way.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. And I think out of all of the stuff that we've had, because, we are recording these and releasing them over time. So, Will, what were even some of the other topics we had coming? Because this is actually, right now, this is technically our 5th episode that we're having you on, Rob. So what else did we have? Me drawing the biggest blank in the world. I'm a terrible host.
Previously?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about question-wise, previously?
Yeah. I know someone wrote in about comparing cover bands to original bands out in the scene or being with.
Music gear. We were talking about gear.
Someone said, does expensive gear make you a good musician? Which was a good one. A lot of we had one about with lessons and things like that, and it's just I think Will and I, we're not saying what people want to hear. We're kind of saying what needs to be heard. I think there's a very, very big difference about that. Not that I'm a doctor by any standpoint, but that's what I feel like the way that it kind of should be. And we said that in the beginning when we wanted to do this show. We were like, we're not going to be mean, we're not going to be harsh, we're going to be very truthful with this kind of thing. So
we're going to be real.
Got to be real. Got to be real. But so we are incredibly happy and blessed in the highest versions of that word to have you with us today, Rob. We appreciate it. But I don't know if either of you guys knew this. People can actually write in questions to have us answer on the show. I don't know if you knew. Now, Will should damn well know because we've been doing this for 5 times, and every time I say, hey, Will, do you know that people can write in for questions? And he'll be like, no, I had no idea. And I'm like, I just don't think he listens to me when we do these episodes.
Wait. You're telling me people can write into your show and ask questions?
You bet your
See,
ass
Rob, that's
they
what I'm
can,
saying.
Rob.
It's incredible, and I keep forgetting.
The future
if
is
I was
now,
someone
boys.
at home, If I was someone at home and I wanted to ask a question, how would I go about doing that?
None of your damn business, Rob. Come on. No. If you would like to send in a question to us, go to www.charleslaurita.com/contact, and you'll see there's a little form that you can fill out with your name, where you're from, and your question, and we'd be more than happy to answer it in a long-form topic. So hopefully it's not a question like, what's your favorite color? Although I'm pretty sure we could do like a whole hour about that, because... guys, it's purple's the best one, honestly.
I knew it was purple.
Yeah, it's got to be right.
It's scientifically proven. It's like the end. 12-second episode there, kids.
That's it.
But we have a question today actually coming from me and Rob's native state. As far as I know, Rob, you're from New Jersey originally, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So Will, if you couldn't tell from his accent, he's not originally from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. It's throwing me off there.
He's from Alaska. Our question is actually coming in from Michelle B. Writes in from New Jersey, and this is a great one, and we're really happy to have Rob with us because I think he's going to have some really, really great discussion points for this one. But Michelle B. writes in and says, I've been promoting my band on social media for about 3 years now, and I've noticed a steady decline in interactions between my group and the people who follow our page, and it's incredibly discouraging. How do you guys feel about the modern music scene with the advent of social media? And that's super intense because I think if me and Will, I'm not sure about if you feel the same, Rob, but I think most of the time I call Will to talk on the phone and bitch to him, it's about this. It's about me being mad at like Facebook or Instagram or something not uploading right or too much of this or way oversaturation, anything like that. And I think that's an incredible jumping off point. Michelle, we can totally, I think, feel your pain. There are some good things. There are some pros and cons. But there's a lot people don't realize with music and social media, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you can put your music out and everyone in the world can hear it. And if only it was that easy. So I'm going to toss it over to William real quick with this one. I have to. I really, really have to. Because you help with a lot of social media stuff too. And Rob, I know you are like the social media saint over there. Whenever we post anything or have anything out there, you are just like a machine. And it's all out of love, which is great. Always great. The first one. But that's so, like, I wouldn't want it to be anyone else, you know? I wouldn't. True. I would. Yeah, I would never want it to be anyone else. I
feel the same way about you guys.
But tossing over to Will, what do you think are some of... I mean, we could start positively before we just start taking a huge dump on everything, because toilet paper is in low supply right now, so we might want to dump too much.
I can't afford it now.
But what, at least, would you think are some of the positives being a musician on... Or having social media as a tool for a musician? And obviously, we're going to toss it to Rob at this point, too, because he has great experience in this field as well.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear me talk.
I do, a little bit.
I do, too.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. That's why we brought Rob in, because it's less time for you.
Right. Yeah, I get expensive.
Sorry.
Positives, yeah. I mean, the obvious that it's, it's free advertising, in a sense. I'm using free loosely, but yeah. And it is. There are great platforms out there that you can get quite the reach with. With promoting yourself or band or whatever it is. And, that's incredible. I mean, the fact that you can reach people all over the globe is wild to me still to this day. But,
oh yeah.
So it gives opportunities for other people to listen to all your stuff. So, that's great in itself. And it's just great to see a lot of the interactions that you can have and connections you can make, especially through these sites. I know we've all probably met, great people through the internet and social media, and it was all from just sharing whatever, or following somebody, and you just come across, really great people, and you can, create great relationships, and that's definitely. Yeah, that's the positives that that comes to mind first for me. But
that's a kind of a cool point, because saying that it still blows your mind. I always think back to so one of my favorite musicians is Prince, and how he came to be was him in his area playing at literally every place he possibly could, and that's how he blew up. And people don't really necessarily have to do that anymore. And it's almost a shame, me personally think of it, where the internet and social media not so much lessens the value of in-person gigs, but there is a lot of potential for internet exposure, not to use the E word because that's an evil word.
Yeah, but we don't like saying it on here.
No, it's gross. But to be able to, use the internet for publicity and reach and things, and it's amazing when you and I'm not sure, Rob, if you've had this experience, but reaching out to different companies for, whether it be like, hey, we'd like to work on an endorsement or something like that, and they look for a specific amount of gigs that you do, not understanding that it's like, that's very, very old-fashioned, where now in modern day, you can get hundreds of thousands of views on a video and people can still continuously watch it as many times as they want. And that in itself is like, talk about advertising for a group or a product or something like that. I always thought that was just absolutely insane. But still, a lot of people look at in person as very, very important too. Obviously, playing for people is the whole point of being in a band. And you can't replace that. But as far as the internet goes, that's like the reach you can get is just absolute bananas. So I mean, yeah.
I don't want to say the name of the individual, but we all know, It's
Mark Zuckerberg, isn't it? Will, just say
I'm gonna
it.
have to say it. I mean, it's not a great example, but Justin Bieber would be a great example.
Who?
In a way. Yeah, exactly. That what the internet can do for you as far as success. I mean, it took a YouTube video for him.
Now, granted, that was when YouTube was very young as well, though, because that's something we should also touch upon, how social media has grown in the past decade to where things were very accessible, people could be discovered, and now it's like, it's just oversaturation is incredible. But Rob, tossing the ball into your bocce ball court over there. See, I wanted to go with sports, but nothing too manly because I'm not, so I kind of wanted to keep it a little lame. Bocce ball's, it's still tough, though. Thank you.
It's probably on ESPN right now, bocce ball.
On the Ocho. But Rob, tossing it into your field, now you working a lot with social media, what would you say are some of the big pros for a band or a musician that we have nowadays that you necessarily couldn't have had a couple years ago or anything in that kind of realm?
There's a lot, man. Fantastic question.
Thank you.
I have a feeling that I forget the woman's name who asked the question. But
Mark Zuckerberg. The woman who asked the question was Michelle.
Was it Michelle? Is that what you said?
It was Michelle, yes.
Great question. My gut is that she's talking about Facebook. We'll get to that in a little bit. I have a feeling.
Oh boy. We are going to have a dump fest.
Yeah, it's coming. Lots of real talk here today. I've built empire. I shouldn't say empires, but I've built things.
Yes, you have.
No, and watch things crumble. And it's a roller coaster with social media. There's lots of ups, lots of downs. So we'll talk about the positives.
Yes.
Will touched on it. Obviously, we use the word free loosely. That free advertising. It's a way to connect with people, whether it be 3 people or 3,000 people.
It's very true.
The connections are important, though, because one of those 3 people might be a big deal. Am I allowed to name drop? Because I'm just shameless. Can I name drop?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Is it Mark Zuckerberg? 'Cause we already said him.
Yeah, and Justin Bieber. So everything's open right now.
Our close personal friends. Brian Morelli, who plays for a bunch of bands in the Jersey Shore scene. I've had him on my show a couple times. Great dude. He said something at first on my podcast that didn't sit great with me while he was saying it, but when he finished the sentence, I was like, oh, you guys hear the saying, it's all about who you know. And it is. It really is. And that was the part that didn't sit well with me. But he finished with saying, but you have to work to make those connections. Not
Very
everyone does, and we see that happen, but you really do. In my experience, you have to work make those connections, and it changes everything. Names like Jeff Crespi, who takes pictures of all the bands, doesn't ask for anything in return, and shares it right now. He's doing his COVID-19 project. He's social distancing. He pulled up outside my driveway, took a picture of me and my drum set, gave everyone a chance to say a little something. Obviously, we're not selling music here, but it connects to community. It's getting the Bob Man brand. I don't even want to say that. That sounds like so egotistical. Egos,
dude, that sounds awesome, though.
No, I don't like
it. Egos, not
egos.
egos. Oh, man, my famous words.
The Charles Laurita brand or whatever it may be, it gets it out there. Yeah. Guys like a Carlo Cooper. Will, you're very familiar with this. He lives in Chicago. Mm-hmm. There's no way we would have had Cooper Group drumsticks in our hand. In fact, when I went out to Chicago with my pops and my cousin, Carlo took us around town, took us to a great restaurant. We saw his factory and went up to his rooftop and looked at Chicago.
Wait, Rob, serious question though. How deep dish were the pizzas?
I knew that was going to be your question.
I got to know. How deep are they?
So everyone told us to try. Was it Lou? I don't want to say the name because I want to like give it a bad. It was good. It was good. But we live in New Jersey. Okay, we have fantastic pizza. Like we are spoiled. Mm-hmm. And I know New York, New Jersey, and parts of Chicago have the best pizza, or what I hear. Everywhere else is terrible, except for maybe Italy.
Yeah, maybe.
That's debatable over there.
I did have the deep dish, and we were all just kind of like everyone there was like, it's good, isn't it? It's great. And we're all like, it's okay. It's more like a casserole.
It's like a cake.
Yeah, the crust is a little bit like, what are those Girl Scout cookies? What are those Girl Scout cookies in the blue, like trefoils or like the... I can't think.
Yeah.
The crust kind of tastes like that. It's like a little sweet. So it was different.
They're buttery.
It was good, but buttery. That's it. We have way better pizza here in New Jersey. But again, Carlo Cooper, he makes Cooper Groove drumsticks. We love them. Increases your grip. Shout out to him. He's been so good to my show. Obviously, Will, shout out to Carlo. But things like that are perfect examples. You don't know what radio show you're gonna connect with in Canada. There's a lot of podcasters, myself included. I've been streaming or sharing this artist Kathleen L because she does a live stream. This is like her 63rd night in a row of doing a live stream, and she just takes covers, like just takes requests. Like, okay, I'll play that, and I'm just like, wow. Hour sets every single night, and then in her off time, she's making masks in her downtime for everybody. So it's just like mad respect. Great. That's what it's all about. And as a podcaster and as someone who plays in bands and multiple projects, those connections are super important. Even if you're not getting those crazy numbers, because let's face it, we'll get into this later. Facebook wants
will we?
the money. Yeah. But making those little connections and using other social media platforms. I'm in a lot of great Twitter groups that are retweet groups and podcast groups that will retweet my stuff, and I retweet theirs. So connections are super important. You never know what kind of friends you're going to make, like you guys, along the way. There's so many good things that can come of it, whether it be, like you were saying,
that's a great point, Rob. I mean, because we couldn't have done something like this, 10, 12 years ago. The internet social media-wise, was very young. It was non-existent. I mean, if you wanted to reach out to radio stations or podcasts or other groups or people, you had to do it by, I guess, snail mail or email. There really wasn't a way to see what other people were doing like this and see, I can look at your page and see all the things you've done and things like that, or reach out and directly talk to you. And like I always say to Will, because it's not just the connection of the musical community, but also the fans and such. I mean, we are always incredibly thankful for all the people who support us. And I think it's something, it really, really says something when you're able to, reach out to a group or a personality that you like and appreciate, and you can talk to them, and they're human and they talk back to you. And that could never have been done, a lot of this. I mean, granted, I can't tell you how many letters I wrote to the Spice Girls when I was a little boy, and also recently. And in the mail, and I'm pretty sure, they were never actually mailed because I never got a response, but also they were ungodly popular. But that, Rob, that's a really good point, because connections in this game, in music and just the arts in general, connections really are everything. It is a shame to say, though, sometimes it is who you know, what you get, but that's a beautiful, beautiful point. I love that. See, I knew you were perfect for this, Rob. You're just absolutely perfect.
I've been through I've seen some things.
He's been around the block.
He's got some miles, but that's fine though.
I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two.
There you go. But so I would say that those are some very, very good positives, which I love. But I think in this day and age, what Michelle kind of talked about, and it is a shame to say, personally, I do sometimes feel like the negatives outweigh the positives. I guess sometimes it's how we look at it or how it's portrayed or the results that we get, but I do think there are quite a few negatives that come with it. Will, I'm going to toss the ball right back to you, bud. So catch this bocce ball, please. You're actually not supposed to catch a bocce ball. I'm just going to nicely roll it over to you like an elderly Italian man.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you. But what Michelle mentioned was she says there's a lot less interactions in the last couple years, and this is something that we can totally relate to. And I've bitched and complained to you about 1,000 times. I know Rob's going to definitely want to jump in on this one. But William, I'm tossing this to you. Pick a social media platform and then just openly take a dump, because I think that's how we have to start this one.
I mean, I like Rob mentioned before, and I think his guess is probably right. And I think Facebook's going to have to be.
Who's the guy that even owns that?
I think Justin Bieber owns it.
Oh, it was Justin Bieber? Okay.
Yeah, I think I was getting confused. Anyway, I mean, that's a big one for me, at least, and I think I see that the most. Let's
go with that then. Let's go with Facebook, and let's kind of dive in and do some brain surgery and see what exactly frustrates us, because so many people come to me and they're always like, well, you got an easy job. It's just music and you put it on the internet. What do you complain about it for? What do you have so much to say for? It's just putting out the videos, and it is so much more work than people think doing music or the arts on the internet, and Facebook being a free, I just did air quotes for everyone listening.
Yeah, I saw.
You did, thank you. Social, for Facebook being free, there are a lot of hindrances with that kind of a thing, because I think one of the things for us is, uploading videos, and that's one of the ways to get our music out, and views decreasing over time. Michelle said interactions, but I know for us, we can say views are a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, Will, you may take the floor on this one, because I think you can speak for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. I think views are the first thing that we see, the first hit we take.
We worry so much about those, too, which is crazy. We're kind of whoring ourselves out there. It's like, everyone look at us,
Right, and we're not, not asking for unrealistic numbers. It's just from over the years, you can see the progression, and it's not going up. It's going down. And truly the math doesn't add up. If you take, whatever followers and likes you have and all the people that it technically reaches, and then you see the views that are spit out, you're like, no, this doesn't make sense at all. So for those people that think it's easy, it's very difficult. I mean, you spend hours and days on videos and recordings, and
Amen.
then you just put it up to the internet, and wow, we got one like in 10 hours.
And for a visual art, that's very, very discouraging.
Yeah, I mean, in the investment world, it's an awful investment. You're putting all your money up front, and you're getting little to zero return on it.
Oh, it's bogus.
And that's what's frustrating to me. And it seems like, oh man, it's like it's harder for people to see your material and hear your material. And I know we've had plenty of issues with that, where people like all of a sudden like, oh, you still doing music?
Oh, like, I got that one multiple
me?
times last week.
What?
Yeah.
Because they don't, and it's not their fault. They're not seeing it. It's getting buried somewhere because Facebook probably wants you to spend money.
That is 1,000% correct. And I was gonna say I'm tossing it over to Rob at this point. Rob, do you have any experience on? We're just gonna stick right with Facebook for right now. The bane and root of all evil. Do you have any experience with sponsoring any videos or content on Facebook for views or to get a wider reach?
Absolutely, I do. Real quick, I want to say this. Will kind of touched on it, where you say the numbers don't add up. I have literally had posts where I post them, and a couple minutes later, it says 0 people have seen this post, yet I have 2 comments on it. So
yeah.
The math.
Oh yeah.
So that's my starting point right there.
No, run with that, Rob. Go with it. Do it.
Yeah, totally. So having used Facebook for a band for over 10 years, for my place of business for over 10 years, it has gone from everyone seeing things to the more people you tag, the more people who see things, to the tags being completely useless, to the more people you tag, the less people see it.
It's crazy. It's a crapshoot.
I think it's even more than that. It's just a steady decline. I see maybe every month, okay, well, Facebook doesn't like it if I do this. This lowers the numbers. I will see little things like, if Charles sees something, Will say something. That's we'll see the same thing. It's not the best example, but I do see a lot of that recently in these past couple of weeks. Again, times are changing. Everyone's home. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I've been doing it for a long time. And the content output or the reception to the content that I'm putting out, whether it be a band, a music video, or my business place of work endeavors, have dramatically dropped. And, at first I was like, what's going on? Is this like a money grab? And then, this far down the line, like I said, a little bit more bitter. That's exactly it's a business. It's a business like most things in the world. It's business oriented. And, yes. As far as my place of business, we do targeted ads. We do sponsored ads. I do those a lot. And again, same thing. We pay money, this amount of dollars for this target audience and these zip codes. In a way, it's kind of invasive. I'm not going to lie. When you
that's a great point.
Because how do you have we all know. I'm talking about a stapler, and the stapler pops up on my newsfeed. It's very strange, like when you pick the demographics and stuff. But I digress. But you'll see even those targeted ads are much less effective, even the ones that you're paying for, because they change something. Maybe I want to hit this certain area code, but I want to do it with, I want to get moms age 25 to 55 for this area code.
Sorry.
No, I was not doing that. I was not doing that. But seriously, there's groups that you target or interest, whether it be music or whatever it is, and then you'll see certain things don't work and certain things do work. And again, you'll post something and a post is doing well, and I'm sure you're familiar with this. And Charles, my heart does go out to you, man, because here's the love, but you pour your heart and soul into this. You do, more than a lot of other people in this business.
A lot of bodily fluids go into it.
There it is. But you seriously do. No, all joking aside, both you guys do, even through this thing, and I see it, and I can see your frustration, with your posts. I can see are you guys seeing this? Hey,
I get bitter and sour with the stuff. And
it
people
hurts
are like,
me,
you
man.
can blame. But I was gonna say, and I know Will feels this way, but I'm gonna say, Rob, you being an artist in whichever degree, whether it's a talk medium or a musical medium or anything like that, how discouraging and frustrating is it when you spend so much time in editing and recording and just the art and the craft itself, and you just get no return? We literally are in a industry where we whore ourselves out, and we do it because we like people seeing our product. And we're now starting to enter this phase of an industry where people can't even see it, to the point where yes, we still have the self-expression kind of thing, but it's people can't see what we're doing. And that's one of my other famous lines. It's so much more than bullshit. It's the bull's whole ass.
It's a classic, Charles. It's frustrating.
I'm going to make that a thing. That's going to go on a shirt one day.
It's frustrating, and I get what you're saying. I'm not I am frustrated by it. I have been for years. I'm kind of over it. I'm more realistic. I see it as more of a challenge for me to overcome.
That's a good positive way to look at it.
I've been very fortunate in my personal endeavors with the podcast, especially. It's like getting an interview, man. I reach out to all these big names. Can I name drop again?
Yeah, go drop away.
And my goal for last year was to interview Santa Claus and a WWE signed contracted superstar, which is nearly impossible. Sure enough, I ended up interviewing Kurt Angle at a horror con of all places, and that was, to me, he was just amazing to me and my father-in-law at the time.
Dude, but seriously, Kurt Angle, I think either had a tag team match with Santa or fought Santa in the 90s. He probably still has his number. We can make this happen. Santa, if you're listening, which I know you are, because he's
watching too.
Please give Rob a buzz, because I think he really wants to interview you.
I missed you guys.
He's not busy this time of year. What's Santa doing in May? Come on.
Yeah, he
but
came
anyways,
to his house.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It was Santa.
No.
So.
I missed you guys. Hopefully everyone's being good out there. But there is a point to this story, and it's not to shamelessly promote my Bob Culture podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. But the point to this story...
Please check it out, everyone. Please do.
The point of the story, gentlemen, is you'll get a million no's. You got to keep trying at things. You never know when you get a yes. The same thing goes with the social media stuff. You never know who you're going to connect with. Never know who sees that music video you guys did with the models and the giant rat running around and go this guy's good. or this track is really, really good, or I love their variation of the Spice Girls song. My personal favorite.
No, well, that's because you're the best, Rob.
You guys are the best, and I'm honored to be here, and I want to say that, like, you never know what connection you're going to make, and I've been very fortunate, like, to spread a little bit of positivity here. I've made some great connections with great people in the Jersey Shore rock scene who have seen me through my ups and downs and have totally got my back, which is, again, like, there's more to it than just business. There really is. Like, I feel like we have a good bond, a good friendship. Charles, I've reached out to you, on personal matters and stuff like that. There's more to it, but you never know, like, what kind of family and friends you're going to get from it. But you never know that, who's listening, who's out there, who wants to have you on their radio show, who wants to have you play a gig, whatever it may be. And I've experienced a lot of positive things. So don't give up on Facebook, because you never know, but try different ways, join different groups. I'm not saying spend money. I feel like you lose if you spend money.
That's what was going to be my next point, because I have some great experiences with that.
Exactly. Unless you spend like a really large amount, it's I'll do a post and this post is performing better than your other post. Spend money, and that's not what it's about. It's about making those connections and friends and people like I said, Jeff Crespi, who are going to come take pictures of you at your show. Jersey Rock Tom Hanley, who's going to feature you on the Rat Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, and then feature your music video on the website. It's all about that, and those things will kind of help you connect and grow. And being featured on Jersey Rock will get you in the Jersey Rock Showcase, which they were doing right now. So it's all about that. It's not necessarily the numbers, and we're all about the numbers, but it's about making those connections. If that makes sense.
Oh, 1,000%. Because I was going to say there was one point in time where I reconnected with you, Rob, on social media from us, gigging years and years ago, and then you saying about coming on the podcast. And I'm thankful for that reconnection. So that was definitely a great positive, because, we've been in contact ever since, whether you like it or not, because you can't get rid of me. But, so that's definitely a great, great, great positive. Like there is always a lot of good with it. It's a yin and yang. It's constantly yin and yang. And I would never stop advertising the band through Facebook or posting or what we do. There is frustration with it, obviously, just because it's things that should work and should be easy because they were easy at one time, or easy to succeed, or a little more fluent. But no, it's never something that I would definitely ever give up on, because I think it's a necessity in this day and age. If you were a band in the modern day and you didn't have social media or anything like that, you're going to have a really hard time.
Got to get with the times.
So it is something. But it was great when you said about boosting the post, and this was one of the first times that I did kind of realize Facebook kind of wants just a whole lot of money, and it was kind of blocking a lot of the stuff that we were putting out. Because we have 2260 at the time of this recording likes on Facebook. We have decent following.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah, no, we're very thankful. I'm very happy. And we love, and the thing is, I love to post and talk to everybody and thank, but not a lot of people see it. I can't even on my own page, my personal one, tag the band, because I think the post just gets immediately buried. I'll post a picture of me skateboarding or my dog or something like that, and that'll get a million bajillion things, or I'll share something stupid, but then when it's the band, it's like, no one sees it. And I was like, all right, well, I remember I was talking to Will and the other guys one day. I was like, I'm going to sponsor one of our videos and see how it does. And, wasn't thinking about dropping too much, like $50, $60, whatever, for a couple days. And I was like, we'll do a 5-day kind of thing. And Facebook flat out said, this amount is too small. No one's going to see it. Wow. I was like, okay. I was like, fine. So I bumped it up a little bit. And I remember I bumped it to like $100 for like a 7-day thing. And they supposedly spread it over whatever amount of days, like how much you spend a day and how many people see in the demographic. And they were like, we don't think this is enough money for your thing. We recommend you spending $800 for this time period. And it was 7 days for $800 for like a 4-minute video. And I was like, this is not fun. So I was like, I'm just going to drop $100 on it, see what happens. We barely got any interactions with any of the stuff that we chose. So I honestly think Facebook was like, you didn't pay what we wanted. No one's seen it. And they got $100 out of it, which granted is not a lot of money. I wish I could just pay them an exposure from all the exposure that I have saved up over the years, but they didn't have that option. They just had US and Canadian. They didn't have the exposure option. So it kind of sucked, but that is very tough, because it's not just for bands and artists, but it's for anyone running any kind of businesses. And I'm not financially at a point, if you, I'm not surprise, musically, I do not make a lot of money from it. I'm not at a point where I can drop, a couple $1,000s, because that kind of pulls into the other side of this coin with social media is you have talent versus money, which I always talk to William and the other bandmates about, where it's kind of like, well, and we discussed in one of our previous episodes where, a lot of people don't work as hard and they'll just drop tons and tons of money and get great results. And it's like, it's a shame if that's what it takes, that it's not anyone with just a natural talent anymore. It's just very deep pockets. And that's always a little disheartening too, because, I've known people who've dropped tens of thousands of dollars on videos, or like mommy and daddy will drop stuff on that. And it's just like, yeah, you guys are getting incredible views, but it's just like, not everyone's that fortunate to have, sugar daddy do something like that.
Better hope the money doesn't run out.
That's kind of what I always say. It's like, does the talent then run out? And it's like, oof. And I've never been into the pay-to-play thing, like we've discussed before, paying for success, unless it's, a specific thing. Obviously, you have to pay for gas, which gets you to the gig. So essentially, you're paying for success that way. But, I mean, Will, when we talked in the past about something like this, with the money situation, now you see every social media site doing this kind of thing, besides just algorithms being changed, that's specifically YouTube on that. But I mean, as far as the money thing kind of goes, how do you feel for some of the lesser bands? When I say lesser, I mean lesser following, that are probably great and we just haven't heard about yet. I mean, at that level, I mean, I don't know if Michelle, who wrote in, is at that level or are having an issue like that, but what would you think about something like that, like a way around it or anything like that, or just a personal kind of opinion?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to answer.
It's a tough spot.
I think for us, and like Rob touched on, is, I don't think the money's worth it unless you have just endless amounts of it.
Well, I do, thankfully. So.
Oh yeah, I could tell by the sound of your voice.
That's why I look like hell. So continue.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to go with Rob on this one. And as far as I agree. Just throw the darts at the dartboard, and eventually one of them's gonna stick. You're gonna hit.
I could throw the bocce ball at the bocce court.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And one's gonna go in the net. Is that how the game
And then
works?
maybe our balls will touch.
Right. That's the hope.
Okay.
So anyway.
No, Rob, you really hit a great point with that kind of a thing, where it's just more so the persistence is key as opposed to the amount spent on anything. And I think that's the best, because there are success stories with a lot of this stuff. There really, truly are. I think just one of the biggest things over time, and I know both you guys can attest to this because we talk about it all the time, the oversaturation part of it is just absolutely crazy, because we don't know anyone who's not on social media. Honestly, maybe like my dad is one of or my grandma, because she's just a million years old. But like, there are a lot of people who, are on it. So I think that's kind of a big point, that it's just so crowded right now with every single, person or band or artist or anything like that. I mean, do you think the oversaturation has something to do with it too? So we can toss it to Rob for this one. I want to see what he's got to say.
Yeah. I'm staying quiet. I want to.
So a little bit of this conversation, we've kind of talked about this off air, the whole quantity versus quality aspect of the business. Not to hijack this or take it in a different direction, but
take it, Rob. You take it, damn it, and you make it yours.
It comes to mind when we're talking about this. Well, first and foremost, like we're talking about spending the money. It's like you said, a crapshoot. Like it's like I think there was one time I did a targeted ad, and for a business, and it was the day after Christmas, and it worked, and we're like, every year we still try to get that same day, same result, but there's never been another time where it's been so like, we've had success and stuff, but so overwhelming like that, and that's what you expect. You're putting in the money, putting in the target, and all that kind of stuff. Going back to, just in terms, you kind of touched on this, the pay to play,
my favorite,
the quantity over quality aspect of it. You don't know my name, you don't know what project I'm in, but you know how many people I'm going to bring. You don't know any of our songs. That to me, like, again, I see the business side of it. There's a lot of give and take in this. I mean, sometimes the take is way off. But I get it. I get it, and I see a lot of these hard-working artists getting taken advantage of or taken for granted. My biggest concern is the kids, the younger bands that are kind of up and coming and going through this and kind of getting taken advantage of. That's my big pet peeve. When I was your age, when I was 16, I'm aging myself here. When I was 16, I started playing in bands. We played at all these big Asbury and Long Branch venues.
Oh yeah,
and it was different, man. Like everyone came out because it was something to do. You're in a band, and then we all got pizza afterwards. You know what I mean? It's like a different time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right now, I've totally danced around your whole question here, but as far as
you have a point. I love this. This is great.
As far as the money being spent or keep doing what you're doing, Will was kind of saying throw the darts. You also kind of have to change what you're doing a little bit, because if you stick to the script, nothing's going to change. Something
evolving with growing with the times, I guess, more so.
Yeah. You need to throw a wrench in the machine. Joining groups is great. There's a lot of support local music groups that you can join and share your links, and you might get 1 or 2 likes or 1 or 2 fans out of it. But that's 2 more fans you didn't have. That might be one person who's going to buy your track or something like that. There, you might have a podcaster like me that sees you. I've discovered a lot of artists during this quarantine.
See, you're so positive with this. I love that.
I know,
I knew this would be so good for you, because you can take the biggest pile of dump that I throw out, and you're like, but here's the good stuff about it. And that's also, I think, the problem with me and Will is we've just been through so many shit shows. We only kind of see the negatives sometimes. And it's nice to have another wheel on the tricycle kind of be there's some good in there too.
Yeah,
there
we
is.
didn't make it too negative.
No, not at all. I again, not to get this love fest going again, but I love what you guys are doing with this. You're calling it like it is. I think I texted you, Charles, and I was like, someone needs to do this, and you guys are doing it the right way. You're not naming names. I've tackled it a little bit on my show, as a last question, as I mentioned earlier. But I'm glad you guys are doing this, and this real talk, and hopefully we're answering Michelle's question.
Yeah, Michelle
from
New Jersey.
So Michelle, Joyzy, love that pork roll. So Michelle, you gotta keep trying. You join some of those Facebook groups, and you know what? We've been talking about Facebook this whole time. Twitter's great. Instagram.
That's what I've been hearing. Yeah, Instagram is pretty good too, even though Instagram is owned by Facebook. I don't know if it follows the same algorithms.
It doesn't.
It is
at all.
It is great though.
It's not the same. It's the more popular one with aging myself
with
here
the
with
youngins.
The kids. With the young.
Got to get on that Friendster, guys. That Friendster for music is great.
Check out my live journal. But the hashtags are very, very important, believe it or not. Throw those hashtags in your Instagram, not so much on Facebook, but on those Instagram posts. Those will help you a lot.
Yeah.
Make friends, but make sure they're real people. Kind of separate your personal account from your band accounts, maybe have another presence, because there's a lot of weird people. As we've all learned, there are people that are going to take advantage of us. So don't do that. Also, what else? Just content. Content is key, and you guys are very good at this. Having content on either a regularly scheduled pattern, that's super important. I join all these podcast groups, and they're like, have it be this day, this week, every week, or whatever it is. And I'm like, nah, that's not going to change anything. And it really does. When I'm cranking out podcasts constantly, it changes everything. Obviously it's a lot harder to make a music video, but you guys are very calculated, and I love, by the way, more shameless plugs, but your concept for the next album and the art, so good.
The cover
so
is insane.
Good. I haven't heard any of the songs, but it's going to be the best album ever.
Well, I'm hoping so. It's getting crazy. So we can for a split second we can talk about that little guy real quick, just as now total shameless self-promotion. So the whole idea because I really didn't talk too much about it, but the Infinity EP was kind of an idea I had where I was like, let's do a small EP, 7 tracks, the title track being Infinity, and then 1 track for each of the Infinity Stones. So you have, space, power, mind, soul, time, and reality, not in that order, and then kind of write a song that would be the what I would think to be a true essence of whatever that is, which is kind of cool. For us, soul is a really super heavy James Brown throwback, because that would, for me, that would be the soul kind of thing. You kind of have to do that one, and things in that realm. But then I got even crazier with it, where if you're a big theory dork,
hit him with it.
Okay, so
this is the best.
The title track is in the key of D flat minor. I usually write in all minors because I'm sad and depressing. But every song is in the key of whatever the dominant chord would be for the next song. So every song resolves itself and leads into the next one, and the whole album is able to go full circle and resolve itself. So it technically just is infinity. And it took me a really long time to crack that code to be able to do it, but it essentially can go all the way around. So when a song ends, tonally it'll lead, not like a segue medley, but it'll tonally just lead right into the next one. And that was like a bitch and a half to kind of figure out what to do and how to do, what modulates here, what does this, what does that. And so it really does, it is kind of an infinite loop. And I wanted to try something crazy with that. And that's what happens when you stay up till 3:30 a.m. every night. You get crazy ideas.
Love it.
Rob, you're the best. Look at you just making me talk about myself. That's my least favorite thing to do in the entire world.
Well, you're coming back on the show, and I hope you debut a track maybe, because maybe get that Soul Stone. We'll see.
Yeah, I would. I'd love to. I can't wait to start recording this kind of thing, because we've had bits and pieces here and there with the guys, but we haven't had any sessions to record it yet. And I'm just putting final touches on a lot of writing stuff. But that's going to be great. I'm so excited about that one. I'm happy you brought that up. Jeez, look at that.
I got you.
Making me feel all happy.
That's why I'm here.
I love it. But so I think if we were to kind of close this guy, and Rob, you really had a good point in the last little blurb that you said about not sticking to the script, and I think that's great, because it's the times they are a changin', as was once said, where it's the social media game is always going to change, and we as prime curators of content, I think, really need to move with that change. We can't just stick to our old ways. So I can sit here and bitch and complain all I want about social media. Like one of my big crutches, I complain about YouTube, because we used to get hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, and now it's like, man, we can pass 100. That's a big deal for us. Even like Facebook with view numbers and things like that. We've had some be shared to pages, and we did the one R&B slow jam of the Lost Woods, and that's 140,000 views, and that's like ungodly impressive. Or I look at like some of the other music videos that we'd done on YouTube, and it's the algorithms change, and whether it's for money or whether it's just for the data in the system, but we still need to kind of ride that wave and be able to fix it. Like sticking to a schedule is a great plan. Like the Drop the Beat podcast is every Monday, where those videos and things go up at precisely 10 a.m. That's a great schedule to stick to. I wish our Mischief Studio series videos could come out more frequently, but having so many people doing so many different things and trying to get everyone together, and now the quarantine kind of throwing a whole wrench in the machine, as you were saying. It does change things a little bit, but content is key. So for Michelle, I think that's a very good thing, is constant content. So it really does force people to see you, because eventually they're just going to see you whether they want to or not. And that's definitely a good way to conquer social media. I mean, Will, what do you have to add with something like that, or your points of view of just anything good? I mean, stuff that we do to really try to get our stuff out there, besides being incredibly handsome.
Yeah, that helps. That really
it
does
really
help.
does. Yeah,
so handsome.
Rob
so
knows
handsome.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, he knows all about it.
It's true.
But yeah, I think consistency is key, and I think the schedule thing is a great idea, and I think we're trying to stick to something like that. But it's just constantly keep putting out content, but don't be afraid to make changes. Times are always going to change, things are going to change, and you just got to be on top of it as well. But at the end of the day, you cannot change who you are, and don't change your sound, your image. You got to be yourself still at the end of the day. But you just got to get it forces you to be a little bit more creative in some aspects, especially like with some of our stuff like we do, people don't have very long attention spans. So guess what? You're going to have to craft some of your videos to, you got to shorten them up. You got to have to make them a little bit more interesting. There's little tricks you can do. I mean, that's just one example, but that's just showing you like things change and you're going to have to move with it. But it's a grind.
Now, Rob,
but you gotta
Rob, I absolutely hate having Will put in a final thought, because every episode, it's so well crafted and spoken and eloquently put in like a quarter of the words that I've used, and he's such a bastard because I know he's come with something like beautifully poetic and like positive, and I'm over here like, duh, do the music and the thing and the doing the stuff, and then he's like, oh dear, my child, let me speak some words to you of him,
yeah.
And I'm like, get that shit out of my face. It's beautiful.
I'm sorry.
I love it.
This
though.
Be my last episode. Thanks, Rob. All yours.
But that's such a perfect point, though. It's just keep doing you. I mean, that's what it is. Like, we sometimes, I think I'm guilty of this too, uploading something and expecting to have these expectations. I'm going to get 1 million views in one shot. And it's like, no, it's not going to happen. It might not happen at first. It might not happen for a long time. But just keep doing it. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is just to not stop. Rob said this too. Just don't be discouraged. Just keep doing it. Never give up on it, Never give up on the good times. That's what the Spice Girls said, and they weren't wrong, even though they eventually, kind of broke up. But that's besides the point. They weren't wrong. And that's disco track, man. Disco never lies.
Gotta love disco.
Oh, my gosh. But, I would like to say in closing with all this, I think we had some really awesome points today. One more time, I really, really would like to thank Rob Crowther for coming on the show. Bob Man tonight, just absolute delight having you here, whether you're showering us with love or just dropping some incredible knowledge on us, because you really do know your stuff. And I urge everyone out there listening to our podcast to please listen to the Bob Culture podcast. I'd say, Rob, would you like to drop in some self-promotion here shamelessly as possible? And you can, and we always give you permission to do this.
Well, thank you guys first and foremost for having me. I love what you guys are doing. I'm gonna, first of all, the shameless promo goes to you guys first. I'm gonna put you guys over, as they say in the wrestling business. I'm putting you guys over. Will, handsome, brilliant, beautiful words at the end there. Only guy on the planet who looks cool playing the cajon. I sold my cajon because it doesn't work for me.
He does look cool, doesn't he?
He looks cool playing the cajon, man.
No, I mean, I want to give a shout out to Meinl. Okay, Meinl, drums, percussion, cymbals, they make all the stuff.
He has it right next to him.
I have it right here. You guys can't see it, but Meinl, please get in touch with me. See, someone just said I made this thing look cool. It's because of you. It's not me. There's a plug.
But here comes the love, and Will, you're fantastic, man. Really, really great. You guys kill it, full band acoustic. No, it's true, man. It's very true. And Charles, man, like I said a million times, like, you pour your heart and soul into this. You really do. I work with a lot of bands, and I work with a lot of people. I've been behind the scenes with other bands, and I see everything that you put out there is real. Everything from every little model you craft to every little project and camera angle and note you play, man, it's all heart, it's all real. And like Will was saying, this is very important. Be yourself, be real, because people see through crap. People see through the fake stuff. And that's going to hurt you. If you're not genuine, if your songs don't have conviction, people see through that, and that you're doing a detriment to yourself. Don't be discouraged by all this social media stuff, people. Use your musical acumen for charity. You guys have done several charity events for me, and I didn't pay you, but I gave you pizza. You got pizza and donuts, but it was for charity.
Pizza is good.
I appreciate, especially in Jersey, I appreciate you guys doing that. That's super important. Make connections, and overall, this will get you far. Just be a good person.
That was beautiful, Rob. I love that.
And
I you know
Amen.
what? We are so incredibly happy that you wanted to be on here and do this with us. We knew it would be perfect. We knew it would be awesome. So I would like to thank everybody for listening to the Drop the Beat podcast this week. As always, thank you guys so much for listening to us beat off and beating off with us. I think that's the most perfect thing to say. I adore it. That was Will's idea to say. I can't take credit for it at all. He's a disgusting, horrible person, and he should wash his hands nonstop. But once again, we would like to thank Bob Man Crowther for coming on, the host of the Bob Culture podcast and the senior editor for thepopbreak.com. You guys should definitely check out both of those artistic avenues that Rob works for. If anyone would like to support us or the band on Patreon, we have a link right on charleslaurita.com, right on the main page of the site, the big, disgusting, gaudy orange button. Our Patreon is $1 a month, and you guys can help support the band and all of our musical endeavors that we do. And I was going to say, if anyone, just in closing, would like to submit a question, please go to charleslaurita.com/contact and fill out the little boxes there. Tell us your name, where you're from, your question, and we would love to answer it in a long format on the show. in closing, that's really all I have to say. If you guys would like to give a little sign off or anything like that, because I mean, I love you guys and I want to hear you talk.
I just want to say I love you guys 3000.
Oh, I love you 3000 too, Rob. That's beautiful.
Yes, thanks, Rob, for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
We really, really, really do.
You're the best.
I love you guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully we'll all get some pizza sometime, all right?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love some
now.
pizza. Yeah, I was going to say, talking about it, we got to have a pizza talk a little bit later in this thing, you know?
Nice.
So thank you guys again so much for listening. We will see you next time.